Добрый вечер всем.
Good evening, everybody. Our Media Hub continues its work, and right now in our studio we have Olga Stefanishina, Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine for European and Euro-Atlantic integration, and our guest Pramila Patten, Special Representative of the UN Secretary General on Sexual Violence in Conflict Times. The subject of our today's briefing is support and assistance for those victims of sexual violence during war. So, Ms. Stefanishina, you have the floor. Thank you, dear colleagues. Today, indeed, we have had a very productive day interacting with the Special Representative of the Secretary General to the UN. Under Secretary of the UN on sexual violence during wartime. We were preparing for this meeting for a long time, and we have agreed upon several important things. First of all, we have signed a memorandum about urgent mechanisms of cooperation and more strategic ways of interaction. Today, unfortunately, we hear a lot about cases of sexual violence, not only about women residing in occupied territories, in those territories occupied by the Russian Federation, but also against children, against older people, and even against men, against males. And it makes us rearrange all governmental resources to properly provide support to such people. We already know that there has been rather large-scale activities of law enforcement, system law enforcement agencies. All those crimes that we could document have been documented. At the same, during our today's meeting, we were focusing on providing assistance, psychological assistance, medical assistance, medicines to citizens who notify of such cases, and establishing a system to collect together such information. Because, as the Special Representative also confirmed today, these are types of crime which are basically not documented during wartime. So for us as a government, it is important to launch wide-scale activities to document those cases and to provide necessary assistance. And as a first step, we have been planning to deploy all over Ukraine, first of all in those places where there are a lot of displaced persons, in those places where Ukrainian citizens come through green corridors, through evacuation corridors, and also in those territories of Ukraine that have been liberated from Russian occupation. To work with such citizens, we will deploy places for them to receive psychological, medical, medicines and legal support. Those are urgent measures that we are starting to implement now. Also, since the beginning of this war, we have already deployed 24 teams for social and psychological support. They have already been working across Ukraine with such citizens. And of course, based on what we initiated today, the Special Representative will develop concrete recommendations which will make the foundation for policies in this area. And I also hope that UN resolutions will be reviewed about crimes committed during wartime. Thank you. Ms. Pramila Patten, you are welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I would really like to thank all the media present this afternoon, because sexual violence in conflict has traditionally not been part of wartime reporting. And this is why sexual violence in conflict has for decades, since time immemorial, remained most invisible crime, least condemned, and most silenced crime. So I really thank you for the interest that you are showing to this heinous crime. I'm here in Kyiv during an active war because all the warning signals of last